and then since I found out that the yeast blending is actually a cider thing, and they do it a lot. So I've been doing some research. Not enough to talk about it yet, but I will soon.
No, but you'll have good questions when we bring Wayne on.
I do. I will. I'll have excellent questions.
There you go.
Yeah, that's going to be my next hobby, is learning how to make good ciders, because I've really gotten spoiled on that.
Yeah, you don't get too many good ciders here, this side of the pond.
No.
I will have...
Unless you make them yourself.
I do understand I will have to make my own.
No, I take that... I would venture to dispute that. Just don't buy the big ciders. If you're buying little local ciders, there are some really good ones out there. I mean, really good ones.
Oh, yeah.
There are also some really bad ones out there. I've had a few, but... most of the craft ciders that I have tried were excellent.
Yeah, I got to start looking for them. I don't know that they're widely available this far south yet.
Yeah, I had
that whole lack of apple tree thing. It's not really that surprising.
I have noticed that the density of cideries increases in direct proportion to the number of apple trees in the area. So, because when I was in Michigan, there are cider places everywhere. When I was in Washington, there are cider places everywhere. So they're all over the place. I don't know about Colorado. Those are pretty much the three places I go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that they're starting to bring back good strains of apples for cider.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well,
that's a big thing.
The explosion of the cider business has really changed the apple varietal, because we went to a farmer's market when I was out staying with my daughter, and they had crates and crates, like the big crates that they use at orchards, not like a people crate, but like a crate that you could set up
a forklift crate.
Yeah,
right.
You can set up housekeeping in one of these damn things. They're huge, and and they were all of them full to overflowing with varieties of apples, and I mean so many varieties. It was like apple heaven. I was like darting from box to box, going, "Oh, I've got to have some. These are so amazing!" And my daughter's just shaking her head and rolling her eyes because I'm so embarrassing. But
I did the same to my husband. They get over.
Yeah, she survived. But it was just really funny because I'm like, oh my god, I just and I consider myself, if I'm not an apple expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I love apples, and so I seek out different varieties to try. So I've heard of
when you've never even heard of it before.
Yeah, right. You want to try it and see if it's any good. So, like I'm just going, oh my god, they crossed a wine sap and a pink lady. I must have one. It's like, oh my god. So yeah, it was like apple heaven. I desperately.
Have you at least found a Cox's Orange Pippins yet?
I didn't see one at this place, and of course none of those ever show up in the stores. That's a rare enough variety that you probably only see that from a grower at a farmer's market.
Yeah.
But no, I did not see that one. That's not to say it wasn't there. There were so many. I didn't get to see them all.
Yeah, I think that's a British variety.
What was it?
Cox's Orange Pippins.
That sounds like a British variety.
It totally is, and a farmer I know actually managed to graft some in here, and so I actually got a crate of them one year, and they smell, the apple itself, before you bite into it, just smells like an apple blossom, and when they're ripe and you shake them, the pits rattle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Huh.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, they're a really nice apple. I'm not sure how they make for a mead, but they're a nice eating apple. They're crisp, and they retain their crispness with age, unlike things like Macintosh and Cortland.
Yeah, I like crisp apples. My daughter's a fan of Rome's, and I'm like, ew, they're mushy. I mean, they've got a really, it's not soft. It's just a really mealy. Yeah, there you go. That's a great word for it. Mealy texture to them that I don't like them. I mean, flavor-wise, they're not terrible, but the texture is just so off-putting to me that I can't eat them. My daughter loves them.
I won't even.
She likes them.
I understand. I won't even eat a Mac unless I know the tree it came off of. Because Macs do the same thing. They're gross after a while.
Yeah. Well, these are apparently gross like right away. It's just the texture. At least to me, it's just the texture of the apple.
So they're fine for applesauce then.
Yeah, I like pink ladies and crips and and galas and so crisp, sharp.
Do you mean that sort of powdery texture that you get where you
that's
feel
mealy,
like something?
yeah.
Yeah, that's mealy. Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, they're not that juicy, and then they just sort of break up on your tongue instead of being crunchy.
Yeah, they need to be crisp and sharp.
Yep.
Crisp, sharp, and fresh.
Yep.
That's the way to get a good apple.
Well, and those kinds of apples dry well too. I mean, if you're basementing those, if you're storing those apples, even when they're wrinkled up and been in storage in the root cellar all winter long, are still crisp. They're wrinkly looking and kind of nasty looking on the outside because they've been sitting, but they're not. They don't go all mealy.
Cox's Orange Pippin and the Honey Crisp both do that because I've had boxes of those that I got in September and I finished in January.
Mm-hmm, and they keep,
and they keep really well.
They're properly taken care of. They keep for a really long time,
But aren't cider apples generally not really good to eat because they have so much tannin in them?
Which is why I'm going to put crab apples in mine.
There you go.
You've been talking about
crab apples are excellent.
You got to just go ahead and do it.
Working on it.
They're absolutely excellent to brew from, crab apples. I love them. They're full of tannin. They've got really good acid content, and it seems to me perfect to soften it with the sugar from the honey. Then.
Mm-hmm.
Even dry, you can taste both. They're clear enough flavor that you can taste both the honey and the crab apple, and you can tell it was a crab apple and not any other kind of apple. And I'll get off my high horse now.
Yeah, no, you've been loving that crab apple thing for a while, so you'll have to document all of that on the show when you do finally do that. But I know that most of the cider makers these days, I mean, it's rare to see a single source cider. I mean, there usually are blends of various types of apples to get that balance that they're looking for, whatever that is, and that varies from cider maker to cider maker. So.
Oh. It's funny. I think if we're quiet, it's because we're all thinking we would really like to brew some cider right now.
Yeah, right. It's going to become the Got Mead Cider Show. Except I've never brewed
to be fair,
cider
that's not new
before.
in my case. I've been thinking about that for a while.
Yeah. I've never actually made cider. I take that back. I did, but it was take a jug of apple juice, stick it in my locker in school when I was in high school, and wait until the jug deformed, and then we knew it was fermenting, and then we crack it and get drunk.
There you go.
But that's the extent of my experience with making homemade cider. I mean, all the cider that I've drunk that's been alcoholic has been cider I've gotten from other people who make it, But
I've made a couple, but I haven't done a
I did the same thing with
stills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a gallon milk jug full of cider. Plastic milk jug. Your basic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and stuck it in my locker and left it in there for a couple of weeks. And I was in drama, and we had drama practice at night, so we would just sneak over to my locker and open it up and have a couple of swigs, and then go back and try to remember our lines. One day at drama camp.
Now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I put an entire envelope of that Red Star yeast, champagne yeast, in a gallon of cider, and just it was not good.
Could have told you that.
Yeah, that did not turn out good.
I didn't put any yeast in it. Mine just fermented from wild yeasts. Stuff coming off the apple skins and whatnot. So.
Well, having made my own cider several years in a row from the feral apples that grow around my place in the city here, I use K1V because I know that'll knock out whatever native yeast is on them. And there, I know the apples that I get are usually typically around 1.05 for specific gravity, and I've had it happen where I haven't gotten the yeast in as early as I wanted to, and it was already down halfway. So it just went. It's the trick is to keep it from fermenting while you're waiting for the pectinase to do its job.
Yeah.
So either throw the yeast in immediately, or you got to sulfite it to give it time for the pectinase to do its thing.
Every time you say feral apples, in my mind's eye, the apples are shrinking away from your hand as you go to pick them and snarling at you.
Sometimes. One of them grows with a hawthorn tree.
Oh.
Yeah, they used to be house apples, but then you put them outside, right?
Now, yeah.
Somebody let them go.
Yeah, somebody abandoned them when they moved because it was too cold in Ottawa. Oh, God. Every time she's used that term several times, and every time in my head, that's what it looks like.
Growling,
little
apple growling.
Apples going.
Like one of the killer tomatoes.
Hissing and spitting and clawing.
Actually, one tree one year made apples that I sat down and ate 2 right off the tree. But that was rare, and actually, that year they were the size of apples you'd buy in the store. This past year, it had 3 on the tree, and they were the size of golf balls, and that was all we got because we had a drought in the summer.
Oh yeah.
So.
I'm looking at my tree about ready to pick right now with big juicy apples. It'd be about 100 there at least.
Nice.
That's right, it's summertime there.
Oh, that's right, summer in Australia.
Yep, summertime.
Mm-hmm.
So, Rob, do you grow any of your own fruit for use in your meads?
No. I'm not in one place long enough to grow anything.
Fair enough.
I do have... Well, no, that's not entirely true. I've got a couple of blackberry bushes outside on the back.
Mm.
I planted a couple of different vines, and I try growing fruit wherever I'm at, but I'm usually not there long enough to actually harvest much.
Fair enough.
But I do pick a lot of the fruit that I use around here.
Okay.
There's several locations around I can get fresh blackberries really easily. And I can on my walk home from work, I can stop through some of the fields and harvest. The foragers are real big in this country.
Huh. What about honey? Is it generally clover, or what kind of honey is it that you're getting out there in London?
I get most of. I'm about an hour and a half north of London.
Oh, okay.
Roughly, maybe 20 or so miles from Cambridge. I get most of my honey from bee folks because they ship to APOs for free. And thank you guys for that. Anybody from bee folks. I buy honey over here every once in a while. I do buy varietals from wherever I go. But it's still, I get a better deal buying from bee folks most of the time.
Have you been? You do obviously do travel a lot. Have you been to a place that you got a varietal that you were just blown away by?
Here we go. Yes. Go, Rob.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't catch the last part. That I got a varietal.
You collect varietals from the places you go.
Oh,
and one that you were blown away by, that you were particularly wow, this is amazing.
I've got a traditional upstairs right now that's aging that I made with Korean wildflower honey. I really enjoy that. I've got about 4 kilos of Korean acacia honey in the other room right now that I'm pondering. I've got several kilos of a Korean date honey that I don't know what I'm going to do with outside of eat it because it's got kind of a buckwheat or a bitter character to it. I don't know that it'd make great mead, but I definitely, it's good on toast. I couldn't find any good honey in Singapore because they don't have any honey in Singapore. Apparently, it all comes from Malaysia. That's because Singapore is a big rock. I have several batches of honey I've made with a just wonderful honey from Poland.
Yeah, they grow good honey there.
Yeah. Oh God, they got great honey there.
Yeah.
I actually had Merrick buy that for me. And we swapped that out with some stuff I bought him while I was in Germany. And I got some very good Black Forest honey. It was a wildflower, but it was from the Black Forest.
Cool.
Nice.
I buy varietals from every country I go to that has a varietal.
I get texts when he goes to another country. He's like, I found blah, and I'm like, I hate you.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, how to get Becky to hate you in one easy sentence.
Yeah,
hey, guess where I was?
You just got Korean acacia honey. It's like, you fucker.
Honestly,
my daughter didn't bring me any Korean acacia honey, and she was there for a month. Bitch.
Well, it was ridiculously expensive.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
But I'm kind of holding off on that Korean acacia. I think I want to do like a champagne mead with that. Because it's such
Rob, do you have any experience with Australian honeys?
I don't. I haven't been to Australia yet.
Oh, well. He's planning a trip. You should come with us.
He does it with everybody. He's leveraging as many people as possible to get me to come there as soon as may be.
Well, the Polish guys are still getting you to try to come visit.
I know that. Yeah, I know. I got to go. Well, now that I'm no longer part of the Mazer Cup, I can do that. See, I couldn't. It was a conflict of interest because they were a sponsor.